Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have Today we have video presentation about the mini project requirement engineering for Agile method. Our group member is Muhammad Safwan, Muhammad Saifuddin, Muhammad Haris, Ismail Faizi. Agile methodology are model used in the system development arena. Agile methodology is one of the famously used software development process in this past years. The intentions are to make product delivery faster with acceptable quality and meet the stakeholder requirements throughout the software development processes. This software development process model focuses more on the delivery value of the customer and ensures the customer satisfied the project delivery. This methodology emphasizes more on creating and delivering the customer needs a feature which is useful, creating other features that not required are considerably missed and unuseful. The unnecessary features creates more and more codes which lead to more errors and make the system more complex to maintain. The requirement engineering is important on this agile method. The requirement engineering is important on this agile method. The approach of requirement engineering in this method mainly related to the technique of the elicitation piece that will not make a big change in agile environment. This agile method focuses more on the implementation of the crucial feature, so the prioritization process is important to this method in order to focus on the important feature. The identification piece or requirement analysis piece on the introduction of the feature are important.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, and I'm Saiful. I will continue with the Agile Manifesto. Basically, Agile Manifesto stress more on the individual and interaction between the customers and stakeholders throughout the development process and mechanism. The customer will collaborate within the contracts throughout the development process. Next is the this agile manifesto respond to the change over the planning. Alright, basically this agile manifesto based on 12 principle. The first principle is the stakeholder satisfaction is in the initial phase and the continuous delivery out of the software. So basically, the satisfaction of the stakeholders is the measure of this um, development agile development process. Next is the changing of the requirement are possible to be done even in the late phase of development. So basically, this agile development process allows the stakeholder to make change even in the late process. Next is the working system deliver weekly or frequently. So basically, the progress of the development being frequently updated, frequently delivered to the stakeholders. Next is good cooperation between the customer and the development teams. So this agile methods promotes the cooperation of the stakeholders, means that the stakeholder are involved in this directly in this process. Next, the project are built by the trusted teams with high motivational individuals. So these principles promotes the 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 better output, or maximize the output throughout the process. Next, face-to-face communication is important in communication between all the stakeholders and teams. So to avoid the information or anything any problems in the development process, so the face-to-face or the direct involvement of stakeholders stressing in this methodology. So next, the continuous of the 12 principle of the Agile software manifesto. So the working system that delivers is the main measure of the progress, as I said it before. Next is the sustainable development. So the teams can be able to maintain the system at a constant pace. Next is technical aspect and design must be continuously inspected. So basically the technical part and the design part is reviewed throughout the development process. Next is simplicity. So the amount of the work can be maximized to provide a better output. Next is the good design, architecture, and requirement come from good self-organizing teams. So basically, the teams, this methodology um, enhance the teams to be self-organizing, or to be a better teams. Next, the teams always reflect their self in order to improve the outcome effectively. So the teams continuously reflects their work, their progress throughout the process to be improved each time. I think that's all for my parts. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haris bin Muhammad Yusuf. For my parts today, I will present about Agile methodology in requirement engineering. Agile methodology requirement engineering adapted many of the basic ideas to the new environment, as they do not rely on standards like IEE standard 830, IEE standard 1233, and IEE standard 1362 for requirement elicitation and management. Also, as an example, all of development team members are involved in requirement elicitation and management. After that, for the second point is Agile methodology aware on requirement variability and treat it as a constant problem in all of other software projects, in order to support changes in project later. It also will give strong impact on the ability of Agile methodology to be lean. For the third point is Agile methodology features focus on what customer pay. It is very important in order to avoid the development process become too general architecture that requires additional effort later. For the last point is Agile methodology requirement engineering focus on minimalization applicable in development in order to satisfy all the needs of a specific customer. Also, it will prevent from developing reusable components or framework, including its functionality that are not used. Thus, it will increase its efficiency. Okay, that's all from me.
Okay, so now huh? Okay, now I will explain about agile approach to RE. So there are four approach in agile methodology. First of all is involving customer in handling waste of requirement, change in requirement, and non-functional requirements. So I will explain by one. So first of all is the customer. So agile methodology has an approach which limit the number of stakeholders to only one stakeholder. This is meant to solve the difficulty of having multiple stakeholders, which often result in different and contradict requirements between them. So in order to choose the one stakeholder, there are few criteria. First of all, there are the one stakeholder must be a domain expert, and it must represent the entire stakeholder decision, and the stakeholder must be able to make important decision, crucial decision for all stakeholders. For example, requirement prioritization and product acceptance. So another approach in customer is customer on site. This is a practice with the stakeholder or customer work closely to the RE team, and sometimes also considered as a team member of the RE teams. So the customer as a stakeholder will work closely with an RE team, and they are always discuss project issue. So this approach will result in faster project delivery because any issue arise from the requirement will be solved quickly with the presence of stakeholder in the RE teams. So we proceed to the waste of requirements. So uh, agile methodology is emphasize on the importance of identifying and reducing waste of requirements such as useless requirement, unnecessary requirement, and duplicate requirements. This is important in this methodology as the waste requirement will cause more waste as the project proceed into the latest stage of development. It will also cause higher costs. It will increase code complexity, and for sure it will delay project delivery and etc. Um, so there are a few approach to waste of requirement. First of all is to involve the whole development team to involve the whole development team in requirement elicitation. Okay, this is to avoid miscommunication between stakeholder and RE team by eliminating the intermediary between communication. So the whole team when the whole team communicate directly with the stakeholder, the probability of misunderstanding is reduced. So next is using common language that is natural for both sides. For example, using only English and avoid using jargon words that is confusing. And if the team want to use the jargon word, they must explain the meaning of the jargon word to both team, and both team needs to explain what their understanding of the certain words. And next is splitting complex requirement into much simpler requirements. This is because sometimes stakeholder give a very complex requirement to the RE team, and it is difficult to understand the functional requirement. By decomposing the requirement into much smaller requirement, the functional requirement become a bit more clearer to the RE teams. Okay, some approach that I mentioned earlier is not applicable as the team size increase, because imagine if the team has 200 members, it is impossible to involve all 200 members in the requirement elicitation because it needs more bigger venue and more cost. So another technique used for this kind of case is to apply requirement prioritization, and in which the requirement is given prioritization. And another technique is use small and frequent incremental release. Incremental release is very incremental release is the release of functional product, small and full functional product to the R&D team to be evaluated time as the team goes on. Okay, next is change is requirement. So agile methodology has its own way of handling change is requirement. First of all is requirement decoupling. Requirement decoupling is to make the requirement as independent as possible. Because when the requirement is independent, is not related to other requirement, making change in requirement is a lot more easier because it will not affect other requirement and other things. So next is requirement prioritization. This is as same as before. Requirement prioritization can help in determining the implementation of the project in priority order. So we proceed to non-functional requirement. So agile methodology has no direct approach toward non-functional requirement, and this is because the policy of customer on site. Non-functional requirement is deal directly with the customer during the development. For example, during the incremental release of the product, the customer will evaluate the product, and during that time the customer will request some functional requirements such as, okay, please make this product a little bit more faster, higher response time, and so on. Okay, which is exactly the point number 3. The performance requirement will be tweaked by the developer if stakeholder does not testify with product during testing of incremental release. So each incremental release, the non-functional requirement is evaluated by the customer. Okay, I think that's all for that's all for agile methodology. Thank you.